Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot, back with some more sparkle for you. It's here. The prototype of the deck that I have created is here. And I've been dreaming of this moment of being able to share my deck with you for so long now, and it's finally here in the flesh, in physical form. I couldn't be more excited. To those of you who have been following along on Instagram with the pictures that I've been posting, little sneak peeks here and there, and just like sending me so much love and hyping it up, I'm so grateful for you. It's made the process of sharing this labor of love all that more exciting and special and fun. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for you and to be here being able to share this. For those of you who don't know my channel or anything that I'm talking about, this is a deck that I've created. This is the prototype example, so there are potential changes to be made, but overarchingly, this is what the deck will look like, hopefully in its final form. So, Tarot Monet Amis, curated by Jay, Iridescent Tarot. Tarot Monet Amis is an 83-card curated art tarot deck comprised primarily of impressionist paintings from late 1800s France. As Claude Monet and Auguste Renoir were both heavily featured in this deck and also lifelong friends, the title is a play on words and an ode to Monet and his contemporaries. May this deck serve you well in your tarot readings, Mon Ami. And you can see here on the tuck box that there are two blank sides, and then for easy access on the shelf, the title on this side, and then on the bottom we have first edition in some of my contacts. For some of the more technical specs here, we have black core linen cardstock, and the card size is slightly larger than normal, so it's 3.5 by 5 inches. And that was because I really wanted the focus to be on the artwork, and because many of the cards feature landscapes, I really wanted to capture as much horizontal area that I could on the painting while still being easily shuffleable. Here are the backs. I just thought it was the most beautiful combination of colors. I loved being up close and personal with the brush strokes to really show the creativity that went into all of the paintings that are on display in this deck. What about that gilding though? You know, like the gilding is everything. I created a little pamphlet to go along with the deck. I didn't want to impose too many meanings on the cards for the reader. So let's just read through the introduction and you can get a good gist of what the deck is all about. Tarot Monet Amis, first edition, 2026. Imagine two overlapping circles. In one, impressionist artwork, and in the other, tarot. Tarot Monet Amis exists in the vesica piscis, the intersection of both worlds, where dreamlike artwork gives rise to form without features, lending itself to a style of reading tarot that both harkens to the systems of old, in this case, RWS, and allows your intuition to fill in the blanks. While the heart of this deck beats with the impressionist painters of the late 1800s, it also borrows from creators in post-impressionism, neo-impressionism, pointillism, romanticism, and realism. The utmost care was taken to obtain images that are entirely public domain and of excellent image quality, intended to honor the artists who poured their souls into these magnificent paintings for us to marvel at, cry to, and smile upon. Like the Bridge and the Hermit card, this brief guide assists you in connecting two distant places, the widely understood yet deeply esoteric RWS tarot meanings with the colorful, expressive works of art depicted on each card. As the Hermit's Bridge is short, so too are the card descriptions. Each card contains a multitude of truths that only you as the reader can access at any given time. The phrases are merely a thread for you to pull that your intuition unravels. If these meanings do not assist, feel emboldened to trust yourself first. May this deck serve you well in your readings, Mon Ami. And as you can see here, we have the majors, and then on the back are extras with the spread. We'll get to that later. Even though I somehow obtained my first tarot deck when I was 8 years old, I've been truly working with the tarot, learning its meanings and gathering as much information as I could over the last 10 years. And as somebody who really enjoys indie decks, specifically in order to be able to obtain those different flavors of interpretation for the cards that we've seen so many times, it was really important to me that the card images that I chose linked to the RWS or standard tarot meanings as I know them. And so my little guide pamphlet here tries to demonstrate in a very succinct way the link that I've made between these two worlds. And part of my intention with this video is to illustrate more fully how I got there with certain images and the meanings of the tarot. As you'll see, some of the guidebook entries are more poetic in nature. Some of them are more story-based in nature. Some of them are very trite. Some of them are more wordy. There's a lot of variation. And here too in this video, I might either read the guidebook entry or I might incorporate some information about the painting that helped me decide whether it was going to be included in the deck or not. So I really hope that you'll enjoy this walkthrough with a little bit of explanation of how these images here ended up in Tarot Monet Amis. You should also know that the bones of this deck are as follows. So it was really important to me that the majors featured as few people as possible. And so what you'll see mostly in the majors are scenes, scenic landscapes, beautiful paintings. And so the people aren't the focus in the majors. The aces all focus on hands and tie into their suit or element. The courts are all people. And then the remaining pips are a combination of either being people-y or not. Some cards are more on the nose, right? Like you have the Fool here that's standing on a cliff, very much reminds us of the RWS Fool. And then there are other choices that are more so intuited and based on feeling. I think that Impressionism is a beautiful combination of having that a little bit of abstraction, but also you know what you're looking at. And so that is infused throughout the deck. It was also really important to me that the guidebook included the artwork name, the artist's name, and the year that it was created, giving credit where credit is due. And also, as I said before, it was so important to me that the images be totally copyright free and open source. And I was very particular about the sources where I obtained these paintings. I wanted to be as respectful as possible and make sure that the images were truly copyright free. And so while that did definitely limit the, scope of artwork that I had to choose from, it was a worthwhile endeavor in my opinion. So for the Fool, I'm going to read you my guidebook entry. Cliff Walk at Pourville, 1882, Claude Monet. One strong gust of wind and the parasol set sail off over the cliff with the Fool in its trail. The Magician, as above, so below. What is in your mind is reflected in your reality. The High Priestess is Cypresses by Vincent van Gogh. In looking at this artwork and doing a little bit of research, I found this quote from Van Gogh that said he found cypresses, quote, beautiful as regards lines and proportions, like an Egyptian obelisk. And they both captivated and challenged him. And so for my guidebook entry, cypress tree rises like an Egyptian obelisk, veiled symbolism for both the macabre and the eternal. The moon gazes upon her in mysterious knowing. It was really important to me to have a card that had the moon in it, and I thought that the duality of that meaning really lent itself to the High Priestess. And plus, these kind of look like the two columns in the High Priestess card. I just have to share. So my perfume of the day is this Molinard Lavande. This is a pretty one-note lavender from Molinard, which is one of the oldest perfumers in France. And when I was there on my honeymoon in France, we visited here in Grasse, and it was just a beautiful experience. So that's what I'm wearing today in honor of sharing this deck. And my nail polish is magnetic. It's Bee's Knees, Bad Vibes Only. And the tea that I'm drinking is also on theme. This is Harney & Sons Provence. Okay. I just had to share that now because I feel like the Empress is all about these earthly beauties. The Empress. Lush flowers and greenery make this house a home, a place to nurture creativity where we shall not too far roam. The Emperor. These are the Houses of Parliament in London, and I thought that they really structured the artwork, and it just obviously rang true to me for the Emperor. The Hierophant. Rouen Cathedral, West Facade, 1894, Claude Monet. The cathedral is painted by orthodox approach, then worked and reworked in the studio until converted into something less traditional. Know the rules to break them. And my explanation for this painting, obviously when we think of the Hierophant, some of that religious iconography, like these, cathedral facades come to mind. But Monet created series of paintings, and one of them was this Rouen cathedral. And this series in particular was a break from his normal approach of plein air painting in person in front of the facade. He would paint like a quick spontaneity. It lacks the spontaneity of that earlier impressionistic style and gets like worked and reworked in the studio. Really the words that I wanted to focus on in my card description is that orthodox approach and the converted into something less traditional, all a nod back to the Hierophant. The Lovers. Interlaced pine trees ask, do you choose me forever? Will we grow in the same direction? Is our whole greater than the sum of our parts? I just couldn't see anything else for the Lovers other than these two beautiful trees that are deciding to grow in the same direction and intertwine their lives together. The Chariot. The train chugs forward, propelled by sheer determination. It will reach its destination. It has surely left the station. For strength, I chose the Willows 1880 Claude Monet. Sometimes strength hinges on flexibility. Bend, don't break. I loved how willows are known for their resilience and flexibility and adaptability, but in that they have proven their strength. Their strength comes from those attributions, in the same way that the Rider-Waite strength, she's not manhandling the lion in that image. She's showing strength through compassion, and it's a different way to look at strength rather than force. Here's our Bridge and the Hermit that I mentioned in the introduction. The water lilies are arguably one of the things that Monet is known most for, but he spent so many years transforming the marshy ground behind his home into this beautiful sanctuary where he was able to just go and obtain inspiration for his artwork and kind of hermit himself away from the world. Personal sanctuary that allowed him to really meet that highest calling, where he's able to make these beautiful works of art that are shared throughout the world all these years later. And so my guidebook entry, a quiet escape, a bridge to personal sanctuary, tucked away to reflect and introspect. I think that's exactly what Monet was doing in his garden when he would cross these Japanese style wood bridges. The Wheel was one of my most difficult cards to create because I couldn't find the symbolism that I was looking for until I found this card. And I do think that this is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. You have this stunning, spectacular cloud illuminated by the sunset. And when I think about clouds, I think about the life cycle of water, right? So my guidebook entry, I wrote, heat from the sun, evaporation, water cooling down, condensation, cloud becoming heavy, precipitation, the rhythm of a cloud, cyclical hydration. I'm just so proud of that one. Because I had to go back to like whatever grade science to remember those words of like the life cycle of H2O. And just thinking about how we have all these different stages that water goes through in order to be a cloud, to be rain, to be evaporated back up again, and how that's constantly a cycle that's going on. Sticking with the weather theme here, Justice is another one that's a little bit more of an abstract concept. Here, when I look at this painting, I just see these two round forces of nature coming together. And to me, it really spoke to cause and effect. What happens when a cold front meets a warm front? And that's what this image just looked like to me. So this really speaks to cause and effect and actions and consequences to me. Perspective is the only card in the deck that I changed the name. So this is the Hanged Man traditionally. And I just felt that the word perspective lent itself more to the theme of painting and artwork, right? Perspective. but is also primarily the way that I read the Hanged Man, which is a change in perspective, right? The Hanged Man is upside down. And so when I am driving and I see these rays of light coming out, sometimes I can think about them in different ways. My mom makes fun of me because I call them Jesus lights. I'm like, oh, go look at the Jesus lights outside. But they're called crepuscular rays. And so my guidebook entry, I wrote, crepuscular rays, are they simply light made visible by dust, or divine presence that can change your state of mind? The death card is also one of my most personal anecdotes in the deck. So I want to do it justice by explaining here what the guidebook entry means. This piece of artwork here is Edward Manet's unfinished painting called The Funeral. So we have a funeral scene here. And it's thought to depict the funeral of the writer Charles Baudelaire. And apparently Manet was one of the only few friends to show up to the funeral. Either they had yet to return from vacation or they were staying away because of a threatening summer storm. But there are not very many mourners present here at this funeral. And when I thought about that, it reminded me of this quote from my neighbor. And we were chatting and he had mentioned how someone had done him wrong. And the specific quote that he said, and I'll never forget it, he goes, "To hell with them all but 6. And I kind of just like gave him a quizzical look and he goes, "Well, I need 6 pallbearers, of course." And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just thought that it really tied in this painting well, right? Because like, screw all those people that didn't show up to the funeral, right? Like, the important people, the people who really cared about this person showed up. Death is a part of life and it's all going to be us there someday. Unfortunately. And death can really strip back some of those, you know, things that you think that are important, but ultimately they aren't in the grand scheme of things. And so I just thought this bare bones funeral that clearly demonstrated who felt that this was important enough to show up to just speaks to a different aspect of death that we don't often see. Here's another one of my more intuitive cards here, Temperance, the Blue River, 1890/1900 Auguste Renoir. Angelic glow blending the warm colors and the cool ones, both in the water and of the land, find the middle path. I'll leave the rest of it up to your imagination here. I think that's part of the fun of it. The Devil, this might be hard to see on camera, so I'm just going to hold it up a little bit, but you can see here that we are in a dark forest. This piece of artwork, which was begun early in Rousseau's career, was still incomplete by the time of his death, even though everyone in his life was like, finish the painting, finish the painting. And his intention was to recreate this sunset that he had seen, but the tangled web of trees, I can just imagine his mental state of like working and reworking this and just never being done, right? And something about the trees really looked like neurons to me, like the way that they're like spidering and just the way that they looked. And so I thought that tied in beautifully to the Devil, where I wrote for the guidebook, in our brain's dark forest, it is easy to get lost. Forging new neural pathways takes time. The Tower, I mean, is this not the perfect Tower card? I was so excited when I found this artwork, even though the Tower is my least favorite card in tarot. Sorry, it is. But there's these cracks in the foundation, like no matter how hard you try, this thing's gonna come crumbling down. The Star, the lighthouse calls you in as a beacon of hope, guidance, direction through the dark night of the soul. The moon reflected in the water plays tricks on the retina. Refraction, distortion. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I just really liked the reflection of the moon and it being like all hazy down here at the bottom. It's really hard to see what's going on. And I really liked the water element, calling back to the RWS. How cool that sunflowers follow the sun. Like they track the sun through its course through the day. And so this huge abundance of sunflowers, so happy and cheerful, and the different light angles that are, you know, speckled and dotted through with this child who really is the only super noticeable figure in the majors, but kind of harkens back to the baby that everyone complains about on the RWS deck. But here he is basking in the sunshine, and so are the sunflowers. Judgment. This was also one of my favorite cards. It's just a feeling here. Like, look at this painting. The fog lifts, the sun half veiled by mist. Illumination of this liminal space suggests awakening. And the World card, which I think is tied for favorite with the Wheel and the World. Those are my two favorite, and that's why I chose them for the front of the box and the back of the box. And this too speaks to the ending of a cycle. The sun sets, it's complete. The day blends into night, as do the boundaries between the water and the land and the sky. It's all one. Here we have the Ace of Wands, the first of our aces that focus on the hands. I really wanted to draw attention to the creative aspect of playing an instrument. And so in the guidebook I wrote, fingers flit across the strings like flint against steel. And it's like sparks fly, right? You're like furiously playing the guitar, creating, it's sparks, sparking something new. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory if you know RWS. Three of Wands, the course has been charted. Now the means of getting there must be prepared. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. You can see that they're kind of planning their strategy. The Four of Wands, a harbor festival. It's a cacophony of sights and sounds and smells, a cheerful atmosphere for a maritime celebration. Five of Wands, jockeying for position, they're neck and neck. A little competition can be fun, but too much creates a pissing contest. Six of Wands, she takes a bow after her grand performance, confidence in her accomplishment and importance. She looked to me so much like a dancer who has done her thing and she's just taking this beautiful bow after it's all done. She has like this smirk on her that she knows she did a good job. Seven of Wands. So according to information about this painting, there are two laborers that are in this image, and Pissarro, who is sympathetic to anarchist ideals, wanted to preserve the values of agrarian society that was being threatened by industrialization. And so this spoke to me of the Seven of Wands. So I wrote, resist and persist until hard times desist. I mean, this scene, you can hear this scene in your head, right? You can hear the hustle and bustle and the noise below, the movement of traffic and people, pedestrians walking by. You can hear it. You can sense that action, action, action energy. This painting is called Lunch at the Restaurant Fournaise, the Rower's Lunch. And I can see that in the background of the painting, there's these boaters that are working all day. And so he's here taking his smoke break, his lunch break. And I can just tell that he is battered and bruised and persevering through this day. Like, this lunch is not long enough for him. Monet also painted a series of these haystacks. And while they were a symbol of sustenance and survival, in order for these haystacks to be created, it was grueling labor. So what I wrote for this card is 12-hour days, cutting the grain, gathering and lifting and carrying it, climbing up the haystack to build and compress and arrange, an agricultural Sisyphus. Like, all day long, they would be doing this work, and it was so back-breaking labor. And that's what the symbol represents to me. This Page of Wands makes me smile because you can tell this girl is getting her hair combed, her hair braided. She would rather be anywhere other than here. You can see like her vibrating out of the image. Like, get me out of here. Get me playing anywhere other than here. I want to go off and do things, not be sitting here with you. And this Knight of Wands, who's sitting in an artist's chair in a garden, is saying, I've got to make something of myself. His eyes aglow with passion. If I can't make it as a painter, I'll write. I'll do anything to make a name for myself. This Queen of Wands is self-assured and happy to express herself in front of loved ones. She creates melodic tunes that fill the space. King of Wands. Cool, calm, and collected, he glances out over his land, his long-term visions having become reality. His courageous, bold strokes have paid off. Plus, that cigarette in his hand doesn't hurt the fire trope. Ace of Cups, my cup runneth over. Blessings. Two of Cups. Before I met my husband, I didn't really know what people meant when they said, when you know, you know. And that's because I didn't know. But now that I know, I know. So what I wrote was, when you know, you know. And when he was proofreading my guide pamphlet for me, he added this on at the end. When you know, you know. Two hearts pulse in unison, each other's metronome. And I just think it's so beautiful that the Two of Cups card, about this beautiful symbiotic relationship, the soulmate connection, if you will, that he helped me create a beautiful description for this card. I could cry thinking about this card. Three of Cups. Leisure time with friends, connecting heart to heart, community, care, and kinship amidst the trees and tarts. You can see them relaxing at a picnic here, enjoying each other's company. Four of Cups. Blasé reflection, staring back from inside the teacup, a daily gratitude practice falling flat. She just looks so bored, right? Five of Cups. I just imagine this man in all black grieving something. And so I wrote, eyes unfocused on the distance, metabolizing the inner turmoil. We all grieve in our own way. I thought this painting was really fun for the Six of Cups. So you have this set of siblings here, and one of them is perched atop the dog. Childhood rites of passage. Your dog is your horse and your toy chest your carriage. To me, the Seven of Cups really speaks to that paradox of choice, where if you have more than you know what to do with, it kind of like limits your capability to like choose a direction and go with it. And so I just thought of these two girls with their sewing basket full of these different yarns and options here, and just not knowing what to make next, what direction to go with their creative endeavors. Eight of Cups. To know when to walk away is wise. To actually cross that bridge and leave it all behind can be dispiriting. This was painted on one of Monet's very physically taxing trips to Norway, and it's speculated that maybe this bridge reminded him of the Japanese bridge at his home in Giverny, and so he was finding this little bit of home amidst this, challenging journey that he's on. Nine of Cups. I wish I may, I wish I might. I just really saw these two girls picking flowers, plucking the petals from them, wishing that, plucking the petals out of a daisy, he loves me not, or blowing on a dandelion and making a wish. 10 of Cups. Heart bursting with joy, the loved ones you cherish flourish under your embrace. Baby's first steps. I mean, what's more heart bursting with joy than that? Makes you feel so fulfilled emotionally. Pink cheeks and a watering can full of hopes and dreams. So this painting is very special to me because it was like the day after I decided to create this deck, and I had found this image and I said, yes, she is the Page of Cups, that I went over my mom's house, who also loves impressionist artwork, and she's constantly antiquing, and so ends up with things in her house that I've never seen before. And I go to her house the day after choosing this painting for this card, and up on her wall is this very same painting, like out of nowhere. And I just took it as such a sign from the universe to keep heading in this direction. All right, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit here. So, Knight of Cups. Doesn't she look like a teenage girl that's like braiding her hair and being like, oh, but he's so dreamy? Queen of Cups. Meditating on the glassy reflections before her, she embodies presence and connectedness. One of the things that I really liked about this painting for the Queen of Cups is this is Monet's future wife, Camille. You can see, if you look closely, that there's something called pentimenti. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but basically you see visual traces of an earlier painting beneath the layer of paint. So it looks like at an earlier stage that there was a bonneted child here. So that's presumably Monet and Camille's baby. King of Cups. He navigates life's unpredictable waters with the self-assuredness that accompanies emotional intelligence. For the swords, I really liked the idea of a fan waving for the element of air. So here's a novel idea: get some fresh air. It can bring breakthroughs, invite clarity there. This looks like two bad options to me. The Two of Swords, you've got this route or this route, and neither of them look like a place that I'd want to go. Yeah, crossroads, gotta weigh your options carefully. The Three of Swords here, we have this couple over here and they're both clothed. They're looking over their shoulder at this naked bather over here. And it just reeked of infidelity to me. Like, what's he looking at? What is she catching on to? What are you doing over there naked? There's just a situation happening here. And so I wrote, rupture can leave a lasting mark, hypervigilance, its sinewy scar. Because she's definitely on edge here, looking over her shoulder and wondering if maybe her lover betrayed her with her friend. Four of Swords. Stop and smell the roses. Better yet, take a nap in the garden. Five of Swords. A tense dinner. Words that cut. A side glance. Bad blood. A shaky sigh. I wrote 5 little snippets of things that I felt like were happening here. This just looks like a very tense situation after dinner where somebody got mad, you know, slammed their fist on the table, the china rattled in the cabinet, some sharp words were said here, and people are leaving with their feelings hurt. Six of Swords. A journey awaits. Are you running towards something new or running away from something old? Seven of Swords. That eerie feeling when someone is breathing down your neck, trying to pull one over on you. I just loved the juxtaposition of the young girl with this painting on the left side and this old man with the dark black background. He almost like fades into the background here. And you can kind of tell he's just like staring her down, like he's up to no good. And she's looking off to the side with that sneaky, sly Seven of Swords energy coming from this guy. Eight of Swords. When it feels like everything is closing in from above, remember there are still paths from out of the darkness. And this painting is titled Landscape with a Sunlit Stream. And I just felt like with this tree canopy coming up here, you have the trees. It feels very much like that cage that the RWS Eight of Swords woman is in. And you have this stream that you can go down, kind of escape down the stream. There's a path here, there's a path there. But like when you're here in this moment, you just feel like everything's trapping you in. Nine of Swords. Is my mind muddling things? Is that a figment of my imagination? Do my eyes deceive me? Or is it catastrophizing realizations? It just feels like there's something there in the middle, like a mirage, a dark mirage, and you've got these dark trees that are kind of bleeding into one another. This is not a place that I'd want to be. Ten of Swords. Like this laundry, you've been hung out to dry. What's done is done. I really loved the youthful glow of her face where she's got these bright eyes, this round face, this curiosity about her. And she's got her feathered companion here, this parakeet perhaps, that really also speaks to that air element of the Page of Swords. Curious and bright, she whispers her countless dreams to her feathered confidant. Knight of Swords, I really imagine being a university student sitting, studying. Actually looks a lot like those willow trees from the Strength card, if that means anything to you. But she's sitting here in her academic world studying, and I wrote, the quick-witted and well-studied are formidable in discourse. I can imagine her going to her debate after this, being well prepared. Queen of Swords, woman with a parasol. This queen, do no harm, but take no bull. She's looking down her nose at you like, you're not getting away with anything. King of Swords, with a diplomatic smirk, he sees right through you. He values logic and rationality. Anything less won't cut it. For the Ace of Pentacles, I chose a hand holding this slightly underdeveloped rose, and I wrote, the rosebud, pure beauty manifests into the physical, can unfurl into a blossoming rose, but only with the tenderest of care and nurturance. Two of Pentacles. In a precarious act, the tightrope walker must find balance to move forward. Three of Pentacles. Teamwork makes the dream work. Am I right? Four of Pentacles. I wrote, I've got four, you've got none. I want more, you're outdone. One of the interesting things I thought about this, with the Four of Pentacles being a little bit of a miserly, hoarding energy, is the painting's first owner apparently became so enamored with it that she kept it with her at all times, even when she would travel abroad. And that just also speaks so much to this Four of Pentacles energy. Like, I'm bringing it with me. This was one image that I was so excited to find. Just this woman on the outside looking in. She's out in the cold, and you've got this warm drapery. Like, you can tell that inside the house is well off, but she's outside looking in. Six of Pentacles. I've got plenty, she says with a kind wink. You go ahead and take one. Seven of Pentacles. This is a Pizarro where you can see peasant girls taking a break from their chores. And so you've got your seeds that are planted, the soil's been watered, the shoots have sprouted, and now we must contemplate how far we've come and how much farther there is yet to go. Eight of Pentacles. Hard at work and skilled in her craft, she has reached flow state. This is Madame Monet embroidering. Anyone who does crafts know that you can get into flow state like that with your repetitive hand motion, whether it's knitting or whatever. Nine of Pentacles. Oh, this woman and the dog on a sunny day in the lush vegetation. So I wrote, cozied up, verdant garden, fruitful abundance, reality's pardon. 10 of Pentacles, this artist's house painting where you have Monet's wife and son playing. And this was a period of financial security for Monet. And I can just feel this happy family vibe. You've got him playing with a hula hoop and her just appreciating her beautiful, lavish house. And I imagine just a very happy, healthy family that this child's not only going to inherit this beautiful estate, but also healthy family dynamics. And what you inherit from your family is so much more than what can be written in a will. Page of Pentacles. She's got her little earthly abundance there in her hand, and she's asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? This Knight of Pentacles, very much giving eldest daughter. So she does what it takes always. You can count on the eldest daughter always. This Queen of Pentacles is so lush. She's tending this, mending that, a generous and warm hostess, still making time for dog and cat. And the King of Pentacles, tenderly cultivating his cabbage, his efforts feel worthwhile and meaningful. He provides for his family in many ways. And here are the 5 elemental cards. We've got fire, water, air, earth, and spirit. I included these because I really use the elemental associations in my tarot readings a lot. I enjoy doing a 4-card reading on the elements, and here I've included spirit as well. So I've intended these to be kind of spread position placeholders. But you can use them any way you like. If you want to shuffle them into the deck and use them that way, or in any other way that you see fit, totally fine. But this is kind of the way that I envision them being used. So let's use them this way for a sample reading. This is my first time shuffling the deck. I'm so excited. So like I had mentioned, this is just a prototype. So I'm as of yet, unsure what is going to be changed for the final version. I need to work with it for a bit and see how the images flow together in readings and make sure that I like everything that I've chosen style-wise, and just put it through its paces before putting it for sale, because I understand that indie decks are a big investment, and yeah, it's just going to take me a little while to make sure that it's good to go for everybody. So for fire, I want to know, what is my action, energy, or intention? What do I have going on right now that is fire? Ace of Wands. Okay, exactly. That is exactly right. Yeah, this is like that creative spark that I talked about, where this is the project that I'm bringing to life right now in this very moment, and that I'm so excited about. So the Ace of Wands is like the flint hitting the steel and sparks fly. Water is emotional energy. So feelings and emotions. What are my feelings and emotions? Two of Wands. Yes. Feeling like I'm setting off on this new adventure and not knowing exactly what direction the boat's going to take me, but just having that sense of expansive energy that does feel like the world is my oyster right now. Air, or mental energy, state of mind, judgment. So maybe mentally just feeling like, so I could take this quite literally. Like I could say that I'm worried about how my deck is going to be judged by others, but right now I'm very, very happy with it. And I'm excited to use it for myself. Whether other people like it is going to be up for judgment. But ultimately, when the fog clears, like this tree that's standing there, that's going to prevail. Like I managed to make this deck out of my mind, right? Like I had this concept and I saw it through to fruition, all the different steps that it took to get here. And when the dust settles and we figure out how this whole deck making process goes, like I'm gonna be there still standing. And then for Earth, I've got physical energy. So what is manifesting? Earth, if you remember from the Knight of Wands quote, he's rearing and ready to go, ready to make something of himself, ready to put something of himself out there into the world, make a name for himself. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening here, and a lot of wand energy happening. And for spirit, that spiritual energy or higher calling / message. The star, to have hope, right? That no matter what, everything's going to be okay. And as long as I honor myself and act with integrity, honor others, my guiding star is making something from the heart and sharing it with others and doing it in a way where it feels good and also it's helpful. Beautiful. Okay, so I just want to flip over some cards together so I can see the way that they look together without using the spread cards. Let's just see how some 3-card readings look. I love it. I love it. Yes. I really enjoy how the colors are blending across the cards. And I think that all the different artists that I used go well together. And I like the variety of images that include people and don't include people. Like all the ones that need personality have personality, and the ones that are more archetypal that can be shown in other ways are shown in other ways. And I think it adds a nice visual variance to have. Like you can have a portrait up close, you can have a person farther away, and you can have total landscape. And it just leaves room for a lot of variation in your reading that I find to be enjoyable. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I just want to do this with the whole deck. I think I might. Yeah. This was such a labor of love, from choosing the artwork and all the formatting that went into it, that I had to, it was just nerve-wracking ordering the prototype, not knowing how it was going to come out. I think it came out really nice. And writing those guidebook entries was probably the most difficult part. It took me so much time to really get on paper what it is that I was trying to get across in each card, and do so in a way that not only made sense to like what you're seeing here in the image, but also made sense for traditional RWS meanings. And I'm really proud of myself for doing this. This was such a fun exercise, and I hope that you liked it. I really do. I hope that you enjoy my deck, Tarot Monet Amis. If you do and you want to find out more, please make sure that you're subscribed. Follow my Instagram. It was important to me to be able to share this with you and just really soak in this moment in the sun, right? All right, I think that's going to be it. So rather than my usual talk to you later signing out, I think I'm going to say au revoir, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you later.